What's up everyone, it's Ben from the Vinyl Jukebox, and in this video I'm going to talk about some of my favorite live albums from the 70s. But before we get started, please don't forget to leave a like and a comment below this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. So in my opinion, the 70s was the golden era for live albums. I mean, left and right you had bands releasing iconic live albums. However, this video is not for those huge platinum selling live albums that everybody always talks about from the 70s. You know, things like the Allman Brothers Live at the Fillmore East, things like Frampton Comes Alive, things like Kiss Alive. Now, in this video, I wanted to talk about some of the more underrated live albums, some of the live albums that people don't talk about as much. Now, some of these people may have talked about a little bit, but I feel like they're kind of underrated in their own right. And they do deserve a little more attention because these live albums are awesome. I got this idea while I was driving to work one day. I was listening to one of the Rolling Stones live albums, a little lesser known, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I thought, you know, this album is just as good as some of their more iconic live albums, if not better. And I thought, you know, why not bring some attention to these live albums? So obviously I did not live through the 70s, so, you know, I can't really comment on the album's impact at the time, but I could definitely talk about their impact on me and how I feel they should be represented in 2025. So without further ado, let's get started. I wanted to talk real quick, and this one is kind of borderline underrated. I think it's underrated. It's not talked about all that much. And this is, and I'll just take it out of the case here so we don't get the glare. This is The Doors' Absolutely Live. Now, I was first introduced to this album when I was a kid. I got this album, I actually burned a CD from the library onto my iTunes, and I would listen to this live album all the time, especially after I saw the Doors movie for the first time, the biopic. And this live album is just absolutely incredible. I mean, you know, you start off with Who Do You Love? You have a medley of Alabama song, Backdoor Man. You know, that transition from Alabama song to Backdoor Man with Jim Morrison's Scream is just, it's just insane. If you haven't heard that, definitely check it out. You get other hits like Break On Through, When the Music's Over. I mean, this is just so well recorded. The sound is so good on this one. I know some of the Doors live albums, the recordings are a little bit shaky, especially these new Record Store Day versions. We have a really cool gatefold on this one. And I just think that this one definitely deserves a little more attention. To be honest, I think that this is a great introductory piece to anyone who is new to the Doors, because I think not only does it show off their incredible songs, but it shows their energy, their raw energy, especially Jim Morrison, to where he transcends the stage into the recording, and you could just imagine all the crazy stuff that he's doing during this show or these shows. I'm not sure if this is just taken from one show or a few. It's probably taken from a few, just based on the fact that it doesn't say where it was recorded. But I love this live album. This will always be one of my favorites. Next up, and these are in no particular order, by the way, I just kind of pulled them off the shelf. Next up, and this is kind of what inspired the video in the first place, we have the Rolling Stones' Love You Live. I mean, this one was released in 1977, and it really represents that 70s Stones sound. I always think the best Stones live album is Get Your Ya-Ya's Out, but this one's not far from it. I mean, I think it really represents the time really well. Get Your Ya-Ya's Out was like that post Let It Bleed, like, you know, 60s, 70s transition Rolling Stones when they really came into their own with their sound. Whereas this is them kind of experimenting a little bit with more of a funk infusion. They brought Billy Preston into the band, and he brought that funk R&B influence into their sound. But you just have some crazy good songs on here. Honky Tonk Woman opens it up. If You Can't Rock Me, which was off of the It's Only Rock and Roll album, and that one's awesome. And I love the transition from If You Can't Rock Me to Get Off of My Cloud. Just a seamless transition that they'd actually do for some tours to come. You know, you have Happy, Hot Stuff off of Black and Blue, Fingerprint File, a very like dirty funk kind of rocker. But just insane mix of older Stones. I mean, you've got Around and Around, you've got Jumpin' Jack Flash, like I said, Get Off of My Cloud, some blues numbers, You Gotta Move, Manish Boy. So you've got a really good mix of Stone songs here. It's cool because it's also a double album, which Get Your Ya-Ya's Out is just a single album. But I really love this live album. I think that, and I'll show you guys the gatefold real quick, and just the artwork on here is really cool. And I just think that this, oh, it's Andy Warhol did the artwork to this one. I just think that this is such an underrated live Stones album. Definitely deserves a lot more attention if you're into that. I know a lot of people aren't into that 70s Stones sound when they were experimenting on the Black and Blue album and Emotional Rescue and, you know, a little bit on It's Only Rock and Roll. But I really dig that sound, and I think, you know, it's just a really cool piece of the time. I dig all of the Stones sounds throughout the years, but this one definitely holds a special place for me. Now, this one I think is kind of underrated. I don't hear about it all that much, and I've been in a little bit of a Neil Young kick lately, so I've been playing this one quite a lot. And this is Neil Young's Live Rust. I mean, this one should go down with the best live albums of all time. I mean, you start off with, you know, half of it's acoustic, then it goes into full-on electric, just like the Rust Never Sleeps album. But this one is just raw, insane, amazing Neil Young right here. I love his live album Weld. It kind of picks up where this one left off. That one's from the 90s. But this one definitely shows that 70s Neil Young grit sound with Crazy Horse. You've got the giant oversized amplifiers and all that stuff in the background. And I think this one definitely deserves a little more attention because I'm surprised that it's not talked about more often. I mean, I guess because Neil Young has so much material. I mean, over 50 albums. I don't know how many live albums he's released. But I think that one definitely deserves more attention for sure. All right, next up, and this one's kind of a recent discovery for me in the sense where I never really gave it a listen until recently, but I absolutely loved it upon the first listen. And this is Bob Dylan's Hard Rain. Now, Bob Dylan can be hit or miss for me. I either love his stuff or I can't stand it. It depends what era it is. It depends what album it is. But this album is so cool. So he was really touring the Desire album, and this is from his tour with the Rolling Thunder Revue. There's a really cool documentary about it on Netflix. But this band he has is just rocking. I mean, he's got Mick Ronson on guitar from David Bowie's band, a little bit with Ian Hunter. T-Bone Burnett is in his band. And this, if there was ever a punk rock Bob Dylan album, this one would definitely be it. I mean, you've got Maggie's Farm is just blasting, just rocking on this one. You're a Big Girl Now, Lay Lady Lay is amazing on here. Stuck Inside of Mobile on the Memphis Blues again. I mean, just awesome Bob Dylan, and I like that it's a single live album. I think that sometimes with the double lives, I love double lives, but sometimes they could get a bit exhausting. But this one definitely keeps it nice and compact, and it's just great of the time Bob Dylan. I mean, if you're into that folk kind of sounding early Bob Dylan, this is probably not the album for you. But I love this era of Bob Dylan, that 70s era where he really started getting into that rock sound, and this is just an awesome live album. So definitely needs to be talked about a lot more. Next up, and this one's a really cool one as well. Speaking about Mick Ronson, although he's not on this album, but Ian Hunter is, and this is Mott the Hoople Live. Just a really cool, raw, Mott the Hoople album. In fact, this is probably my favorite Mott the Hoople album. I tend to think sometimes Mott the Hoople studio albums are a little watered down. I think that they don't fully capture the energy of the band. I mean, I saw them, I think it was 2019, they were doing a short run, and I saw them in a small theater, what was left of them, of course. But even so, even in their 70s, 80s, however old they are, they put on a great show. They had such great energy. And this really captures that, 70s energy of the band. I mean, you've got all the way from Memphis, all the young dudes. You've got a little medley here, a whole lot of shaking. I mean, this band is underrated in America to begin with, but I think as a live album, it definitely deserves some attention for sure. All right, next up, and we're getting a little punky on the next two live albums. This is New York Dolls, Red Patent Leather. Now, I don't remember whether this album was released while the band was still together, or whether they had broken up before its release. I know that the what they were wearing was a little controversial at the time, especially with the sickle and hammer, the communist sickle and hammer. But this is just a really cool live album. Again, truly representing what this band was all about. This band was all about dirty, sloppy, raw live energy, and I think that this album really captures it. The band had been around for a little while, so they definitely had gotten tight with each other. You know, we've got great songs, Red Patent Leather, Daddy's Rolling Stone, which Johnny Thunders would go on to perform on his own and with the Heartbreakers. You have Pirate Love from Johnny Thunders, amazing. Teenage News, the Sylvain Sylvain song, Personality Crisis. So you get a little mix of everybody. I like that the whole band is kind of represented on this, and it's just an awesome live album that, again, doesn't get much attention, maybe because it's the New York Dolls. They're a little more, if you know, you know, sort of thing. But I think that this one's really awesome. Next up, now I had a few to choose from with Iggy Pop and the Stooges, and I decided to go with Metallic KO, Iggy and the Stooges. This is the Stooges 2.0 with James Williamson in the band on guitar. And this album, talk about raw, I don't think you could get any more raw than this. I mean, this is just like straight up Iggy Pop nastiness. You've got, what do you have? Raw Power opens it up. I mean, what better opener than Raw Power for a rock show? Gimme Danger's on here. A cool song that I don't think was put on an album, Rich Bitch, Cock in My Pocket. I mean, that's just classic Iggy. And then a pretty long, if I remember correctly, it's been a little bit since I've listened to this one, but a pretty long version of Louie Louie, which is like your ultimate like drinking, getting messed up sort of sing along. And Iggy obviously was very messed up at the time, so just fits the whole vibe of this album. But I love the cover design of this. I love the live album. Definitely deserves more attention. I think people generally go to these studio albums with Iggy, but it's cool visiting those live albums as well. All right, next up, and this is the only live album that was released for this band while they were still in their original incarnation, and that's Lynyrd Skynyrd, One More from the Road. I almost messed that up. One More from the Road. And this is just an amazing Skynyrd album. Basically spanning their whole catalog at the time, working for the MCA, Tuesday's Gone, Saturday Night Special, Freebird, Call Me the Breeze. I mean, this just has all the hits on it. It's basically like a greatest hits record, but live. And this one definitely, like, I had gotten into the Skynyrd studio albums first, but this one definitely brought my fandom to a whole new level, especially after seeing the newest version of Skynyrd live. This really showed me what the old band was all about, and they were very different, but I think that the spirit remained the same. So this is just a great one as well. I'm surprised this one isn't talked about more, because this one's just incredible. I mean, I can't find anything wrong with it. So Skynyrd, One More from the Road. All right, next up, and I never hear about this one, ever. And it's so strange. I guess I couldn't even tell you why. But this is, I guess it goes this way. This is Rod Stewart and the Faces Live, Coast to Coast, Overture and Beginners. And this is really, I guess, towards the end of Rod Stewart's time with the Faces. And this is a quintessential dirty hard rock or dirty rock album. I mean, Rod Stewart sounds amazing on this one. The guitars are loud, and this is just them playing some amazing stuff on here. I mean, you've got their cover of It's All Over Now. You've got Stay With Me. You've got Borstal Boy, a favorite of mine. I mean, this one is just awesome. Definitely deserves more attention. I think the Faces deserve more attention in general. But if you're looking to get into... if you're looking for what Rod Stewart should sound like, it's on this album. I mean, Rod Stewart, in my opinion, gets such a bad rap because of his pop singing, because of the stuff he did from basically the late 70s onward, how he basically turned into a pop singer. I think he's one of the greatest rock singers of all time. Just based on his stuff from the late 60s and 70s. I think Rod Stewart is very underrated in the rock community, and I wish that he would do a tour of just rock songs, maybe get together with the remaining members of the Faces one more time. That would be so cool. I bet he could still do it. I mean, he doesn't sound like he used to now, but I think he could still get it together and, you know, put a good effort into these songs. So that one's just incredible. And lastly, I think that such an underrated band, as well as live album, is Grand Funk Live Album. If you're looking to get into Grand Funk, this is your first choice. I mean, this band is criminally underrated. I mean, the band headlined The Garden. The band headlined Shea Stadium back in the 70s. They were so big, and then they just basically fell off a cliff. I think this album is so great, starting out with Are You Ready, then into Paranoid. I mean, those two songs are just killer in general. Heartbreaker, Words of Wisdom, they get very jammy on this live album as well. But I think that this one's just insane. And what's funny is when I see it in record stores, usually they're in pretty rough shape. I mean, this sold a ton of albums. It's just strange how it's never really talked about when you think about the great live rock albums from the 70s. So I think, you know, Grand Funk definitely deserves its due. I think Grand Funk deserves its due in a lot of different ways. I mean, the fact that they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is just insane to me. But this is definitely a must-have for any rock fan, any live album fan. I mean, just the raw energy and just the spirit behind it is just insane. So definitely check out Grand Funk Live Album if you don't have it already. And there you have it, everybody. Those are 10 underrated live albums from the 70s. Just 10 that I got together. I'm sure I could pull more off my shelf, but let me know what you think in the comments below. What live albums do you think are criminally underrated from the 70s? What are your favorite big live albums? I did an episode on top live albums, not just from the 70s, but just in general. So definitely check that out. I'm like choking here. Definitely check that on the channel. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.